From the moment Omar and Avery appeared on 90 Day Fiancé, before the 90 days, viewers felt something different about them. Their story wasn't loud or messy. It wasn't filled with explosive fights or shocking betrayals. Instead, theirs was a love that felt older than time, stitched together by fate, faith, and an unwavering sense of purpose. They were two souls who seemed to recognize each other long before they ever met in person. For years, fans watched them fight immigration hurdles, cultural barriers, the distance between continents, the unpredictability of global politics, and the weight of waiting. Through it all, the couple held on to the dream of building a life, a real home, together. And secretly, tenderly, they held another dream too. A dream with tiny fingers, soft breaths, and a heartbeat they hoped one day to hold close between them. And now, in this reimagined creative celebration of their journey, the dream finally comes true. The announcement that stopped their WORLD it was a quiet Thursday morning. Avery's phone rested on the bathroom counter, her hands trembling slightly as she watched the thin plastic stick develop its lines. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3. Her heart thudded so loudly that she swore Omar might hear it through the walls. And then, 2 bold, unmistakable lines. Positive. Absolutely, undeniably positive. Avery covered her mouth with both hands as tears began to pool in her eyes. For years she had imagined what this moment would feel like, but the reality of it hit her with such warmth, such intensity, that she felt her knees weaken beneath her. She pressed a hand to her still flat stomach and whispered a prayer of gratitude, one she had recited hundreds of times but which had never felt so intimate, so holy. When she stepped out of the bathroom, Omar was standing there waiting. He could always sense her energy shift, even before she said a word. "Habibti, what is it?" he asked softly, his accent melting gently into every syllable. Avery didn't speak. She simply held up the test. For a second, Omar didn't move. His face froze, his eyes widened, and time seemed to suspend itself between them. "Avery," he whispered, voice cracking. "Yes," she breathed out. "We're going to have a baby." He covered his face with both hands, overwhelmed. Then, with a sound between a laugh and a sob, he pulled her against his chest. They stood there for a long time, wrapped in a silence that was not silence at all, but full of gratitude. Years of struggle, the gravity of answered prayers, and the spark of a future finally blooming. The journey that made the miracle mean more to anyone else. It was just a pregnancy test. To Omar and Avery, it was something sacred, something earned, something almost impossible. Their story had never been simple. Avery was only 18 when she converted to Islam, young, determined, full of conviction, and willing to face criticism and misunderstanding with her whole chest. Omar, calm and steady, was working through dental school in Syria when they first connected online. The world around them was chaotic. Their visa journey was long and brutal. There were times when they didn't know if they'd ever live in the same country, let alone start a family. Family members doubted them. Strangers online mocked them. Immigration processes shut doors in their faces. But Omar never gave up. Avery never backed down. They moved across the Middle East. They relocated to America. They built stability from scratch, step by step, sacrifice by sacrifice. And through every storm, they remained each other's calm. So yes, this pregnancy was more than a new chapter. It was the universe finally whispering, "You've waited. You've fought. Now here is your reward." The first ultrasound tears that said EVRYTHNG. Omar and Avery walked hand in hand into the clinic for their first ultrasound appointment, electricity buzzing under their skin. Avery squeezed his fingers so hard Omar chuckled gently. "You're more nervous than your NCLEX exam," he teased. She rolled her eyes. That exam didn't involve creating an entire human being. The sonographer dimmed the lights. Avery felt Omar's hand tighten around hers. The screen flickered. A blur of black and white appeared, and then a tiny flutter. The heartbeat, a sound like a steady drum. Soft, rhythmic, miraculous. Omar pressed his forehead to Avery's, his voice thick with emotion. "That is our baby," he whispered. "Our blessing." Avery didn't even try to stop the tears. "We did it," she whispered. "We finally did it." The sonographer smiled warmly. "Your little one looks perfect." For the first time in their long journey, the couple felt the full depth of their victory. The baby wasn't just a child, it was a symbol, a culmination, a living reminder that love, when nurtured with patience and tenderness, really can survive anything. Preparing for baby, a home full of HOP. With the news out, Omar and Avery transformed their apartment with childlike excitement. Omar spent 3 hours comparing crib brands, insisting on the safest model. analyzing reviews as if he were reading research papers for dental school. Avery laughed every time he got lost in rabbit holes like best hypoallergenic baby mattress covers and top-rated infant nail clippers. Avery, on the other hand, threw herself into nesting. She painted the nursery herself, a soft pastel green that felt peaceful and warm. Green? Omar asked playfully. Not pink or blue. Green feels like new beginnings, she said, touching the brush to the wall. It feels like us. Omar watched her with so much love it made his chest physically ache. Every brush stroke, every tiny decoration, every folded baby blanket reminded him of how far they had come. From war-torn borders to crowded airports, from embassies to immigration interviews, from fear to stability, Avery had been his constant through it all. Sometimes he would pause in the doorway of the nursery and just watch her. His wife, his partner, the mother of his child. He whispered prayers under his breath, overflowing with gratitude he could barely contain. A message to their future baby. One evening, after a long day of preparing baby items, Avery sat beside Omar on the couch, her head against his shoulder. Can we make a video for the baby? She asked suddenly. A video? Omar smiled. For when they're older, yeah, something to show them how wanted they are, how loved. The camera blinked on. Avery spoke first. Hi, little one, she whispered. If you're watching this one day, I just want you to know you were a miracle long before you existed. You were prayed for. You were dreamed of. You are the gift we held onto through every challenge. Omar continued, voice warm and steady. My baby, I will work every day to give you a life full of safety, faith, love, and opportunity. Your mother is the strongest woman I know, and I hope you inherit her courage. I hope you know that your very heartbeat is a blessing to us. Avery wiped her eyes. We can't wait to meet you. They ended the video with a kiss, sealing their words like a promise. Fans react a global wave of loving this creative imagining. When the couple shared their announcement online, the reaction was instant and overwhelming. Instagram, TikTok, fan pages, and 90-day Fiancé forums went wild. I'm crying real tears for them. The most wholesome couple finally gets their miracle. Omar and Avery deserve every happiness. This baby is going to be so loved. Even castmates chimed in with congratulations, the kind that makes you feel like the whole world just became softer for a moment. The final scene, a promise for Tomorrow one night. As Avery lay in bed, she felt a flutter, small, delicate, unmistakable. Omar, she gasped. Come here. He placed his hand over her belly, and there it was, a tiny kick, a hello from the miracle growing inside. Omar's eyes filled with tears, slow, warm, grateful. This, he whispered, voice trembling, is the happiest moment of my life. Avery cupped his face in her hands, and we're just getting started.